Hey, how you doing?
Damon, how's it going, man? Thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
We've got this brand new Gorillaz track, Momentary Bliss. And I mean, Slaves and Slow Tie, two sort of contemporaries in the UK that seem to be fed up with the status quo. Well, really, I want to ask you about what you think of Slow Tie and what was it that kind of drew you to get him on this track?
Well, I mean, he's just a kindred spirit. You know, it's this time round because we're doing so many in such quick succession, really, like once a month until we run out of ideas. So hopefully that's not going to be for at least, I don't know how many episodes the first season's going to be, but I don't know, something like maybe 12, 13, don't know, something like that. But you need to work with kindred spirits, people who are really in the same pocket as you are, you know, about, you know, worldview and kind of emotion, you know, and that's something which you have to kind of go on like instinct, you know, because you can listen to people's music and be an admirer from afar, but until you're actually in the room with each other, you don't really know whether it's going to there's going to be any kind of connection. So it's about connecting with people and connecting with the people that are into our music and, you know, taking them on a journey as we go on the same journey, you know, because we're not completely sure what we're going to be doing at the end of this season. We're maybe up to about episode 6 we've got in the bag, so to speak. It's like we just have these really concentrated bits of time when we all work on Gorillaz, and I think it's about momentum.
And I feel like, you know, Slow Tie really speaks to sort of this post-austerity UK anxiety, especially he's this sort of like young kid kind of coming up and sort of realizing that he's part of a generation that might not have it as good as his parents might have had it at one point.
I think in some ways, every generation that crosses their mind. I mean, when I was kind of his age or a bit younger, there was still the last decade of the Cold War, and there was a huge anxiety about atomic apocalypse. We all really felt that as kids, you know, so I feel for everyone really having to sort of assimilate so much information which they have absolutely, you know, innocent of its creation and, you know, have to sort of live with its implications. So I feel someone like him he's got such a great positivity about him that, you know, even though he might talk about quite grim kind of scenarios, he's got such an energy about him that it's kind of uplifting, you know, and it makes you feel like you can do something about it, you know, which is self-evidently what we all need, you know.
I think that's a perfect segue. I mean, like, considering what happened in the UK over the weekend, Brexit kind of being formalized and finalized, do you think music's doing kind of enough politically right now? I mean, you look at somebody like Slow Tie and the answer is yes, but I'm thinking sort of broaden that scope a little bit. Do you think music's doing enough?
It's still a bit kind of, I don't know. I don't really want to kind of say there isn't enough political. I think maybe the value system within the language, you know, and the imagery, it could be toned down a bit and could be used for better energies, you know what I mean?
And doing a Gorillaz project sort of in the wake of something like Brexit, does that give you freedom, if any, to kind of, I mean, these guys are characters, they're not really going to be living through it the same way that you and I or anybody else is. Is there a freedom?
You've got to understand with Brexit, we raged against it for 3 years, and in the end it was such an emphatic vote to leave that, yeah, I think there's an element of betrayal and disappointment and sadness, but we all just have to move on from it. Yeah. So it's not really something we really dwell on anymore, to be honest with you, because it's immutable, as they say. There you go.
Over the weekend, Noodle posted on ING a potential collaboration, you know, the Currents cover from Tame Impala, tagged Kevin in it. Anything you could speak of to that? Because I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, would that be part of season 1? A little bit of a Currents, Tame Impala, Gorillaz crossover. I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask.
There'll be lots of surprises.
And that brings me to my last question. I feel like Vince Staples seems like a pretty worthy candidate as well. I mean, you guys, every time you guys get in the studio together, every time there's a Gorillaz Vince project, any chance of something sort of more fruitful or more robust coming out of that relationship?
Always. I'm always up for kind of doing something different, you know. De La Soul, a perfect example of people we've worked with, feels like decades, you know.
Damon Albarn, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes out of your morning, man. I really appreciate it. Afternoon, rather, where you're at. Thank you for shedding a little light on this project. We're really excited to get our hands on whatever's next, whatever form it takes.
All right, mate. Lots of love. Thanks very much.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.